Hello, my name is Harriet Lobel, and I'm 88 years old. My birthday was May. I was born in 1918.
Were you born here in Omaha?
I was born here in Omaha, as were all my sisters. I had two sisters, Pauline and Maxine, and they are the apple of my eye.
Tell me about them.
They are wonderful. Both of them are just couldn't be better. They're so good to me too. And
Do they live here in Omaha?
they also live here in Omaha. Thank God. I don't get to see them too often because they are very active, whereas I'm a homebody. My interests lie more in writing. I love to write about what Mama told me. She had a remarkable family. She came from a family, they lived in Russia. She came, her grandfather was Zelyuk Zelychonok, and he was a saint. In fact, all the people in his little shtetl called him a saint. And I remember what they said. She told me, she said, when he died, they were looking for the most honored place in which to bury him, because a man like that, nothing was good enough. And they looked through all the records, all the good places, the special places seemed to be taken up. So they went into conference, what shall we do? This man is too special to just put in a regular place. So they prayed. They prayed, and he had done a lot of praying too. He used to go across the river every morning and to the synagogue, and he would pray with the men there and study the Bible. And then he'd buy a lot of groceries, all kinds of groceries, and pack it on his horses. He brought two horses, and bring it back. And then his wife and some of their 12 children got busy cooking. So they had a table. In fact, he had to build another house next to his house and connect them so that everybody who had no place to eat would come and eat at their table every day. And he was considered a saint, and he was a saint. He was so good. He had many, many children, 12 children. And every one of them adored him. In fact, the whole shtetl loved that man. He was a saint. That's what they said.
Did many of his children immigrate to the United States?
Now that, I'm sorry to say, I didn't remember to ask my mother. I was very glad she had immigrated, and my father too.
Where did your father come from?
Oh, that's something I never asked him. I know it's Russia, but that's all I knew. Yes.
What was your mother's maiden name? Or your maiden name, I should say.
Rifkin.
Rifkin.
Rifkin, that was, they called her Jenny Rifkin. She hated the name Jenny. And it wasn't her name, it was Danya. When she came to this country, and the man that greeted her there and wrote all the things down about her asked her name. She told him Danya. So he said, we'll call you Jenny here in this country. So she was Jenny from then on.
Do you know when she came to this country?
Oh, I'm not sure of the date. But since I was born in 1918, it was maybe 3 or 4 years before that.
How did your mother and dad meet?
Say that?
How did your mother and dad meet?
Well, there was a Jewish center there, the Labor Lyceum, and they met there. And both of them liked to be in plays. They liked to act, and they loved to sing. Both of them had beautiful voices. And we often put on shows for charity, the whole family. We'd have rehearsals with Papa's brother. One of his brothers had a beautiful tenor voice, Uncle Ara. He was a sweet man, Uncle Ari. So we get together, that would be Papa, Mama, Uncle Ari, and us three girls. And I played the piano and Pauline played the violin. So we put on whole shows for charity. And then we adopted an orphan that we sent money to in Israel. And that's what we did it for.
Tell me about your two sisters.
Well, they're both younger than I am, and they are dolls. Couldn't have asked for better sisters. They're so good to me, and they're so good to everyone. Everyone likes them. So I'm glad to say they've done fine in this country. And right now, of course, they're going through some problems. Their husbands are old now and having medical problems. And that's very distressing to them. And they both have given up their homes now and are going into apartments. So
What are their married names?
say,
What are their married names?
oh, it's the one next to me, 2 years younger than me, is Pauline Landman. She's married to Maury. And my other sister is Maxine Simons. She's married to Dr. Milton Simons. Yes, and she's 5 years younger than I am. And they're both wonderful girls.
Tell me a little bit about growing up with your sisters.
Well, I don't know about that. Part of the time, we had a normal childhood, but then we moved into a neighborhood where there was somebody named Nasrallah across the street from us. Now, there's a Nasrallah right now who's making terrible trouble for Jewish people, and that Nasrallah did make us very much trouble. They got together whole gangs, and they'd come and try to beat us up, the three girls. And it made me so furious. I became like a dynamo. I had strength I didn't know I had. I beat them up so they wouldn't touch my sisters. I thought of myself some of the time as a boy anyway. I dressed in my grandfather's clothes. And I had many a fight. Girls too, but mostly the boys. But something interesting happened, you know, with that. That was very, very odd. This Nasrallah across the street, she had a son who began to have trouble with an ear. And the doctor said he'd have to operate on that ear. So they took him to the hospital. Well, the doctor got drunk, and this knife slipped, and he slit something in the boy, and the boy died. And, of course, the Nasrallahs went into deep mourning. Well, so anyway, time passed. Nothing changed with us. They had other children, and they were the gang leaders. I was still fighting for years. One day, she came over, and she said to my mother, "Please, I'm begging you, on bended knee, call off your God. My second son has to go to the hospital, and I don't want to lose him too." Crazy. So Mama gave her a lecture about how they have to behave and not be that way about other people, and then God will bless them and not curse them. So she said, we'll behave. Went home, and from then on we were never bothered by anybody in the neighborhood ever again.
Where did you grow up? What part of the city did you live in?
I lived in Omaha all my life. We lived on 2524 Poppleton at that time when these people I'm talking about lived there too. And I was quite a tomboy when I was a kid. I had to protect my sisters, so I built up my strength. I used to go out in fierce, cold, stormy weather and face the wind and struggle block after block, so I built up my courage and strength so I could take care of my sisters, because I didn't want them to be beaten up. Didn't seem to mind if I got beaten up. I just felt that I was doing something worthwhile. So,
Did you have a very religious upbringing?
no, not at all. We went to the synagogue on holidays, and I didn't understand a word they said, of course, so it didn't mean much to me. But I deeply believed in God through nature, not through not through religion, through nature, because I had a great love of beauty. In fact, I majored in art, and I studied the conformations of the leaves and the trees and all the growing things, and went into a deep reverie, and I could feel close to God that way. That was my way of feeling religion. So I could feel and admire so much all the beauty that he had created in this world. Endless beauty.
Where did you go to school?
Let's see. We went to. Now, how is that? I don't remember the name. I forget the name. Long School. That was the first one. Long School. This. Then when we moved to 2524 Poppleton, I went to a different one, but I've forgotten the name.
What high school did you go to?
Well, I went 2 years to Central High School, and my father said, I don't believe in girls going to college. It's a waste of money. So I transferred to Tech, since he wouldn't pay for college. I went 2 years to Tech. And after all, after I graduated, and he wouldn't pay for college, so I went to work. And I saved up my money, and then I went to college.
Where did you go to college?
When?
Where?
Where? Right here in Omaha. Yeah, I went to Omaha University. Yeah. Majored in art.
Did you graduate?
No, I never graduated. Never graduated. No. That was interrupted. Yeah.
What kind of work did you do while you were in school?
What kind of work? Well, different things. I did some stenography. I earned some money that way. And I remember one woman hired me to help her go through all the papers and things that she had acquired. Couldn't bear to throw it away, and thought maybe if we could organize them, then she could keep it all. That was a strange job. And I did go to work in an office too for a while. So,
I would like to hear how you met your husband.
well, I met him through my boyfriend that I had. I had gone to the Jewish Community Center with my parents one Saturday night, and I heard sounds of music in one of the other rooms, so I went over there and sat down and watched them dance, and some young man came over and asked me to dance. Al Gilbert was his name, and he became my boyfriend. So, but I didn't marry him. The first time I met the man I did marry was at Al Gilbert's party at his house, but of course I was going with Al, so I paid no attention to him. And he said to me later, when we were married, he says, you know, the minute I saw you, something in my head said, this is the girl you're going to marry. But since you had just started with Al, I had to be patient. So he was patient till I stopped going with Al.
Do you remember going together with your husband?
Yes, oh yes. He was very poor. He was so busy fighting to get back in the university. He'd been kicked out because he invented something and told his teacher, and the teacher took it and presented it as his own invention. And Harry started fighting about that, and he spent the rest of his life fighting that. But he never was able to do anything about it. But it really affected our lives an awful lot. that he couldn't do that because he was inventive and he was creative and he was a scientist. And it would have helped a lot of people if this guy, because once he took that and got a nice position and all that, he couldn't do anything with it. But he didn't know it all. And he didn't know how to do the research either, how to find out about it. And that's too bad.
What kind of work did your husband do?
Well, he was an electrician. He went to Tech High at night, learned the electricity, and became, he couldn't get much of a job here. He couldn't get in the union. But about that time, our oldest child had been born, and there was something wrong with her. And we didn't know what. I went to all kinds of doctors. They didn't know what was the matter with her. So we decided to go to Philadelphia where his parents lived. And maybe they would know there why it took me from one meal to the next to feed her. And that she couldn't do the things other kids could at that age. So we went to Philadelphia then. And we went to a doctor with her, and the first doctor knew there what was the matter. She had cerebral palsy, he said. And he said, there's nothing you can do for her. He says, just bring her to the state, forget you ever had her, go home and have other children. I said, what do you mean, forget her? I love her. I'll never forget her. What else can I do? I'm sorry, I don't know anything else to do. Oh, I just was so furious with him, I didn't know what to do. I said, that man has no heart. So there's something wrong with her, but I love her. So then began the real tough time. We started going everywhere to find out if there was someplace, something we could do for her to help her be better. And we went to the Shriners. We heard that they did good things for children. And they said, well, we don't do anything for cerebral palsy children, but there is a hospital here that takes children in to teach them as much as they can teach them. Of course, you keep her at home, but you'll have to bring her in yourself. She's too young. When she's 3 years old, they'll send a bus to pick her up. I said, but until she is, if you want to get started now, you'll just have to bring her in. So that's what I did till she was 3 years old. And I've never been so exhausted my whole life. She was a dead weight. And where I lived was on the opposite side of the city from the hospital where they had that. So I carried her down those 3 flights of steps where we lived and carry her to a bus and stand there holding her. There was no place to sit till a streetcar came, And we go to the center of the city. Then I'd go down 3 flights of stairs to the subway. Get on a subway and go the rest of the way to the other side of town and climb up 3 more flights of stairs and walk a half a mile. And she was a dead weight. It's so exhausting. But I'd walk there and I came in and they took her. And they did wonders. They taught her many basic things she needed to know, like even toilet training and how to study. And they had little music classes, and she really enjoyed it too. So I worked in the hospital while she was in class, helping other patients, till noon. And then after she had her lunch, we reversed the trip and went home. More steps. By the time we got home, I was unfit to do another thing. I was so tired, so worn out, because she was a dead weight. It wasn't like any other child. It's a dead weight. So that was the way we were doing there. And I found that they told me about a therapist from the hospital who could do therapy with her on the days when I didn't bring her in. And they taught me each song for each therapy, and I did it at home every day for her. And Harry put two chairs on opposite ends, and he put two pipes on so she could practice walking between them. So that's what we did every night. We practiced walking after her lunch, after her nap. We practiced the walking, and I practiced with her all the different little words we were to learn, and I sang each song for each exercise, and we kept doing that until we decided Omaha had finally got a school for cerebral palsy children here, for handicapped, including cerebral palsy. So we came home. That was, I forget how long we were in Philadelphia. It was probably 3/4 of a year. But that's, yeah. That's the most exhausting time of my entire life, was that time.
How did she progress over the years?
She did well. She got better and better. We kept on with the exercises and the practicing and the speech learning. And right now, she's living in California. She has a program on the radio, a musical program that she has of music. She has friends. She has a son. And she lives alone. The son lives with a group of boys with people who really know how to help these children. So, but she goes every other week. She drives to the city where he is. She drives all over the mountain, picks him up and brings him back to her little apartment. And they have a good time together. And she's a wonderful girl. Just wonderful. She's so smart. He said she had no mind. She has a wonderful, brilliant mind. She writes poetry, too. Beautiful poetry.
Tell me about child number 2.
Child number 2 is Peggy. Peggy was married to a boy named Brown. Peggy Brown. But she has her own old name back now since she divorced him. I don't know what to say about her. I think she's a new soul. She hasn't been here before. She's just learning how to be a human being. And it's hard for her, very hard. She needs a lot of help.
Does she live here in Omaha?
She lives in Oklahoma. And she's working there. Unfortunately, she doesn't earn very much, but at least she's working. And they adopted a boy. The mother didn't want this boy, and she couldn't have a child because she had had an operation that was something wrong with her internally, and after the operation she could not have a child. So they adopted the boy. And he's a nice little young man now. He's been in the service, but he got very badly hurt on his back, so they discharged him. So he's really still looking for what to do with his life. But she loves folk dancing. Oh, she just loves folk dancing. That's where she goes when she has time.
Yeah. Now, how about child number 3?
Child number 3 is the one I lost. Lovely boy. Lovely boy. So he was run over by a truck, and it was very, very hard. Very hard. It keeps coming back, the pain. The pain. It's been an awfully long time now, because he was 13 years old, and that was a long time ago, but I think about him so often, so often, and I hope he went to a good place, because he really didn't have a chance to savor all the wonderful things that are in this world. So I hope there's another world where he could, you know.
Now, what about child number 4?
Child number 4 is Gary, and he is the apple of my eye. He is so good to me. When he knew that his dad was going to pass away, and it was a slow process, very slow, he went and bought a house so I could live with him. And I thought that was so sweet. It is, because I was just living in a little cheap trailer that needed repairs and all that, because, you know, I needed to help the 2 daughters so much that I didn't have what it took to live very well. So he bought me a nice house, and we've lived happily together ever since. It's been quite a while.
How many years have you been together with your son?
Oh my, must be 12 years by now. Never had any disagreement, ever. He's so good-natured, good, easy to live with, and considerate. Yes, I'm very pleased that that happened. I never in the world thought that if I were without my husband that I would be so pleased, contented, yeah.
What are you doing these days to occupy yourself?
Well, I've been writing. I have 30 journals I've written, everything, because my daughter Peggy said to me one time, "Mama, I wish that you would write down some of the things you've said to me, told me about. I would just love to be able to read them anytime I get lonesome for you and want to remember what went on." So I started to write, and by golly, by now it's 30 journals. It's not all my writing, it's pictures too. I love pictures. What's going on in the world, and things that are beautiful and interesting things, and amazing things too.
This must keep you very busy, doesn't it?
Well, it keeps me pretty busy, yes. What would I do without it? Probably I'd figure out something, but I enjoy it, and I enjoy reading a lot. You know, it also helps. I don't go out very much anymore. I don't seem to want to or need to these days. It's contented to be here.
Do you see your sisters at all?
Oh yes, yes. Whenever they have the time. They are both very active and very busy. Yes, and but we get together, and we play games together, and I've always loved my sisters so much, and we've never quarreled or fought. We're always so happy to see each other. They are the most wonderful girls. I don't know how I lucked out that way.
What is a typical day in your life like now?
I hate to say it. Typically, it's just working on my book, cleaning the house, once in a while going out for errands. I'm 88 years old, and I have no desire to go do things anymore. Just plenty satisfied to stay home and read and write. That's about it. I know many parents have a lot of trouble. Their children make their lives miserable. but mine haven't. I've been fortunate that way. My oldest daughter, Karen Lobel, although she had cerebral palsy and we went through a great deal with her, still she managed to make a life for herself, and that pleases me. And my daughter Peggy also, where she lives, although she divorced her husband, but if she was not happy with him, then that was the thing to do. So she works and she loves square dancing and going to school and writing little essays and so forth, and she writes pretty well too. And so I'm pleased with her. She's very devoted and calls often. Of course, my oldest daughter can't talk to me because I can't understand her cerebral palsy talk, so we write instead. And then there's my son Gary, who has been wonderful to me. He bought me a house when my husband passed away, and he's been so devoted and kind. We've never had any problem between us at all. And I'm very grateful to all my good children and grateful to God for giving them to me.